In 5 minutes, Bergerac. First a chance to catch up on the gossip and personalities from Britain's popular daytime drama.
Neighbours, everybody needs good neighbours, with a little understanding. You can find the perfect blend.
What on earth is this Neighbours programme?
Well, it's an Australian daytime drama series on BBC One, although it's moving to the early evening from next week.
Well, what's it all about?
Australians, mainly.
It seems to me there'll be a lot of people who won't know anything about it.
Well, that's why I've got Madge Mitchell to come over and explain the plot.
Who's Madge Mitchell?
Well, she's married to Fred, although they're separated, and she has a daughter called Charlene.
Yes. I think she had better explain.
Hello. Living in Ramsay Street, Melbourne, there's not much you can do without your neighbours knowing about it. The street's a cul-de-sac, and you know how the builders really cram the houses in these days. Mind you, I always feel as though we have slightly more right to be there than most, because the street's named after our family, the Ramsays. Now, I like to think of it as a respectable street, but one or two of my neighbours have a pretty checkered past. Daphne Lawrence runs the coffee shop now, but before that, she was a stripper of all things. And a few days ago, she married the local bank manager, Des Clark.
Those whom God hath joined together, let no man put asunder. Des and Daphne have accepted each other in marriage. In the name of God, I declare them to be husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Des, you can kiss me now.
Oh, but as I was telling you, the Ramsay family have been in this area for a long time, and we're very proud that the street was named after my grandfather. One fact that my brother Max never lets me forget. Oh, he and his wife live in Brisbane now, but their eldest son Shane still lives with us. Shane was once a diving champion, but he had to give it all up because of a car accident. Since then, he's never really found his feet, odd jobbing as a chauffeur and a gardener. Well, I'm beginning to think he should stay away from cars, after he was involved in another accident after Des and Daphne's wedding. It's left my other brother Tom very distressed after a very close friend of his was killed. And as if that wasn't enough, my daughter Charlene's still seeing that Scott Robinson from next door.
How'd you go with the interview?
Hopeless. About 50 others went for the same job, and they all had experience.
Bit of a bummer, huh?
Yeah, I didn't have a chance. Getting jobs isn't going to be as easy as we thought.
Well, if it's going to be that hard, do you think we should give it a miss and go back home?
No way. I wouldn't give Mum the satisfaction. Anyway, there's still 4 days left. We've got plenty of time.
But what if you can't? I mean, we're trapped as it is.
I will. I have to. Because if I don't, then I can't get a flat with you. And I want to do that more than anything. Don't you?
Mind you, his father, Jim Robinson's had to bring up the family alone since losing his wife. He's no example to his sons, having got Zoe down the street into trouble. But he did offer to do the decent thing, but for some reason best known to herself, she turned him down. Brave girl, who I suppose has had to be even braver now that she's lost the baby too. Jim Robinson lost his wife when she was giving birth to Lucy, the youngest, and easily, in my view, the most precocious child in the street. Her brother Paul, the eldest son, seems to be doing pretty well for himself. Now he's running the Daniels Corporation. He's a bit of a high flyer. And the one member of the Robinson household who does seem to have her head screwed on is Helen. Now, she's Jim's mother-in-law and a very good artist, amateur, of course, although she does mind her own business. Unlike Mrs. Mangle from across the street, who if I described as gossiping and interfering, I'd be being kind. If she gets bored poking her nose into our business, then there's plenty of material down at the place they call the Ape House. So called because it's owned by Clive Gibbons. Mike Young lodges there. He helps Daphne out at the coffee shop and seems to be very respectable. My daughter Charlene could do a lot worse, but as I was saying, the Ape House is owned by Clive, who, although he's a qualified doctor, gave it all up to become an entrepreneur and jack of all trades. Gorilla grams being just one of his sidelines. As you can see, life in Ramsay Street can be funny, sad, even traumatic. But there's never a dull moment, especially with neighbours like mine.
Neighbours, everybody needs good neighbours, with a little understanding. You can find the perfect blend. Should be there for one another. That's when good neighbors become good friends.
So that's Neighbours. When's it on?
Weekday lunchtimes with a repeat in the early evenings. So, are you going to watch it?
Might do.